historically, Democrats have been very strong in Tazewell County. And some people think that we've lost that right to be the majority party in Tazewell County. But I want you to not be afraid to stand up and say you're a Democrat. I don't know that in my lifetime I've seen a situation like we're facing right now. Can you imagine what might happen if the Republicans get their way on Social Security and Medicare? And let me tell you something about Social Security that you probably already know. Social Security is an issue that ought not even be considered in budget negotiations. It doesn't have the first penny of general fund money in Social Security. You see, that's something that you pay for. You pay half of it. Your employer, whoever you've worked for down through the years, has paid for it through a payroll tax. They tax me, they tax you, and they tax our employer. That ought to be outside of all this mess that you're talking about in Washington. It has nothing to do with the deficit. The deficit is caused by other issues, not Social Security. So when you hear the Republican people talking about, we've got to get a handle on Social Security, nothing wrong with the Social Security Trust Fund right now, and it wouldn't be anything wrong with it for years down the road if we would put the money back in that we've taken out and used and borrowed to do other things with, so we didn't have to raise some debt. Don't be afraid to stand up and tell people that. It almost seems like we're afraid to stand up and say what really is on our mind and how we feel about Social Security, how we feel about Medicaid, Medicare, and how we feel about the wars that's going on and not paying for those and charging those on a charge card that's inflated the deficit. If you listen to Republicans, you think Democrats are responsible for all this deficit. Go back and look from 1980 through present day, including 2 years of Obama's administration. The Republicans have increased the deficit more than any Democrat during that time frame. And the only president who balanced the budget and left a surplus was a Democrat. When Bush came into office, he spent a surplus, and then he increased the deficit almost 80% because he charged everything, gave the wealthiest people in the country a tax break, and said to the working people in the middle class, thank you, that's the best we can do for you. You keep paying the bill and we'll be all right. Don't worry about the deficit. That's what Republicans said in 2004. It won't hurt us. And now you'd think Democrats are responsible for all that. I'm going to say this one more time. We're going to be campaigning hard. And we're not going to be afraid to say, Democrats know how to do it right. You bought the message that's out there about Democrats creating this deficit. We're going to tell you the truth. The truth is, Republicans have a big part of where the deficit is right now, and they've done it over the last 25 or 30 years. So don't be afraid to stand up. Stand up for your local Democratic candidates here in Tazewell County, and when November the 8th comes, don't be afraid. Go to the poll, pull that lever for our Democratic candidates, and let's send a message to the Republicans. First of all, we do it right. Secondly, this election's not for sale. We're not going to count money on November the 8th. We're going to count votes. We need your help. We need your vote. Thank you, and thank you for being here today.
There's things in this country that are worth protecting. And it seems like every time we want to slash our budgets, we always go after the most vulnerable in our society. The most vulnerable are our seniors and our kids. And anytime they want to cut budgets, they start looking at Medicare, they start looking at education and Social Security. We can't do that. We have to protect those folks. We have to honor our commitment to Medicare. We have to honor our commitment to Social Security. And we have to look forward to the future and educate our kids. We have to educate our kids. I realize this may be a federal issue, but I'm willing to be a loud and vocal voice that the folks in Washington, they need to leave Medicare alone. We need to honor that commitment. In Richmond, I'm going to be a loud and vocal voice to try to bring every dollar we can back here to this district so that our kids have the same quality education. And as I said, my child and some of these other kids that I see here in the room, they deserve the same education that a child out in Virginia Beach, Richmond, or Northern Virginia has. What else can we do to help protect middle class and working families? We have to try to get the power rates under control in Virginia. And we created a problem in 1999 when we deregulated the power companies. Another problem was created in 2007 when we attempted to re-regulate the power companies. And I believe that there is something we can do in Richmond to get these power rates under control. I can tell you Philip Puckett in 1999 voted against deregulating the power companies, and he voted against the law in 2007 as well, that he needs help up there, and I'm willing to provide that help. Right now, the State Corporation Commission has no discretion whatsoever in telling the power company no when they want to raise their rates. We need to put more discretion back in their hands so that they can look at the big picture and say, wait a minute, you folks have made a big pile of money over the last 5 years. Folks are being squeezed, no power rate increase this year. But right now, unfortunately, they can't do that. I'm willing to take that on. But what I want you to remember, like I said, I believe at times the middle class and working families in this country are under attack. And let me tell you what I mean. Anytime they want to cut and slash Medicare, I believe the middle class is under attack. When states restrict the rights of workers to organize and collectively bargain, I believe the middle class is under attack. When the folks at the top of the food chain get all the tax breaks and your average working family does not get any tax break, the middle class is under attack. And when the power rates continue to spiral out of control, the middle class is under attack. And what I mean, let me just tell you real quick about this power rate issue. We have to do more than just ask the power company not to raise their rates. We have to do more than just circulate a petition and say, hey, don't raise our rates. We have to do more than just blame the EPA or Washington for the problem. If you're in Richmond, there's something you can do, and we got to take it on, and I'm willing to take that on.
Your candidate needs and deserves your support. Go see your candidate. Go ask them to give you a sign. Go ask each one of your candidates to give you a sign to put in your yard, and then give one for your neighbors and everybody else. Come out and vote and support your candidate. You've got a great team up here, a dedicated team. Support them. They need you in November. Thank you very much.
And like Todd, I agree. Whoever you vote for, vote. It is your right. That's what our men have died for. You come out and vote. It's so important to cast your vote for whoever your candidate is. And I think that we do have a good group up here. You're not going to go wrong with your Commissioner for Revenue candidate. I think we would all do a wonderful job. We've all worked hard. We've worked together.
And I'll reiterate what's already been said. You can't go wrong with any of the candidates. You can't go wrong with any of the Democratic candidates. We've got the best ticket we've had in a long time, from the top down. Thank you for casting your ballot. You can't go wrong with any of them, any of the candidates sitting up here today. We've got a great candidate for delegate, and a great individual, put himself out there, a hard-working individual. He's a lawyer like myself, and I can't say enough good things about Bert Gracely or Phil. And I just thank you all for coming out. And I can't say enough good things about my opponents here today either, but thank you all for coming out.
Well, we're still waiting on the Eastern District, but I see it coming down the aisle. Sandra wanted me to make a comment at our next supervisors meeting, which is August the 2nd, I think. August 9th. Well, probably I won't be there if it's August the 2nd, huh? We're going to have another discussion on the precincts. And we had a wrestling match earlier this year, and for this year there were no precinct closings, and the district boundaries stayed the same. We have received approval from the Department of Justice on the district boundaries, but the other side of the fence, the Republicans want to close some precincts in the county. So that's on our agenda in August. If you work in a precinct, if you vote in this fall precinct, we need you to come and speak to keep that precinct open. It's important that you come to that meeting and be heard, because if you aren't, somebody living in Bandy is liable to be driving to Baptist Valley to vote. So you got to be careful and help us to keep these precincts open. Thank you very much.
Okay, we'll call this meeting back to order, and we'll ask the district chairs to come up, and they will read the people that are elected delegates. And please, if you don't have anything else to do, or even if you do, try to come to the Board of Supervisors meeting, because, you know, they're trying to close the small voting places. That makes it really hard on the old people that have voted there for years, that maybe don't drive well, and so we need to fight to keep those polls open. So please come to the Board of Supervisors meeting. That's meeting in August, I think it is August 9th.